Part 337. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Zhu. Chapter 3370. Yang Qi rolled downhill all the way, and hit a tree in one fell swoop. The force was so strong that he groaned, covered his chest and rolled up. Bai Jingxing and the guards ran down, reached out and turned the person over. Seeing that his head was sweating and his face was pale, they did not dare to move him. Call the doctor. The guard walked away in response. Bai Jingxing crouched down to check on him. Where did you hit? She touched his head. Does it hurt? Yang Qi pressed the pain and said, it doesn't hurt. Bai Jingxing pressed it all the way, and when he pressed it on his chest, seeing that his face turned pale, he grunted and asked, it hurts here. Yang Qi made a sound of N. Bai Jingxing was a little worried, and went down to touch. Where is the waist? Does it hurt? Does the leg hurt? After Bai Jingxing checked, the doctor also arrived. There are doctors in the race course, and they are good at bruises and injuries. After all, the race course is full of extreme sports, which is very dangerous. Since Zhao Yuling's horse was frightened, people from the horse farm went to inform the doctor. When Yang Qi rolled down the hillside, the doctor was already halfway up the hillside, so he came down very fast. The two doctors brought a group of guards down with a stretcher. Because they didn't know how injured Yang Qi was, they didn't dare to move for a while. Bai Jingxing said, he was injured in the chest. It is suspected that the fracture injured the lungs. The left leg was fractured, but it was not serious. The rest were contusions. The doctor hurriedly said, there is no obvious bleeding. First fix the chest and left leg, and lift the person down. Yang Qi's status is not low, and she will definitely invite doctors from the Beijing medical office for treatment, and may even invite an imperial doctor, but the two of them should not go there. Doctor, young Master Yang fainted. In just a few words, Yang Qi's consciousness became more and more blurred, her breathing became more and more short, and her face turned blue, which was not good at all. The doctor was shocked, this is internal bleeding. Another doctor hurriedly opened the medicine box and took out a pill to feed Yang Qi. This is a hemostatic medicine. Yang Qi had difficulty breathing. How could she take the medicine? Her whole body became confused. Bai Jingxing looked very anxious. Prick the needle first to expel the blood and gas from the chest, otherwise he will die. Miss Bai, we won't. What should I do? Dalanjun, please hold on, our master and his wife are in Songzhou, and before leaving, give us the master. Bai Jingxing saw that Yang Qi's eyes were tightly closed, lying weakly on the ground. Her face was as white as if there was only one color in the world. She gritted her teeth, reached out to look through the doctor's medicine box, and quickly found a hollow needle inside. She quickly connected the intestinal tube, and first stuffed the thing to the doctor. The doctor took it in a panic, and stammered, "White little lady, although we have heard of this kind of case in the imperial physician's office, but we haven't done it, and we don't even remember the main points of it, we really don't know it." "I'm coming." She took the scissors and said to the guards, "Help him sit up." The guards quickly helped him up. Bai Jingxing went down with scissors and cut the clothes on his chest, took the needle and touched his chest, swallowed and said nervously, I think my mother has done it, between the 7th and 8th ribs. Let me try, if you don't hate me too much. Anyway, if you don't try, you will definitely die. If you try, you may still be alive. Yes, Mrs. Bai, you are Lord Zhou's daughter, you can definitely, Before the doctor could finish his sentence, Bai Jingxing stabbed him with a needle, and blood spurted out of the intestines instantly. Because the intestines were not long, the blood rushed out into a straight line, which was very scary to watch. The students of the academies who were driven down from the mountain saw their feet softened. Zhao Yuling knelt on the ground and cried, "Young Master Yang, he is dead." The Kuazijian students who were with Yang Qi ran over with pale faces. So. Bai Jingxing breathed a sigh of relief and stretched out his hand to them. Don't come here, it's already dirty enough. If you come here again, what should you do if you get infected after the operation? The two doctors also returned to their senses and congratulated the servants of the Yang family and Bai Jingxing. Success, Yang Lang Junjiren has a natural appearance. He also praised Bai Jingxing. Little Lady Bai is indeed the daughter of Lord Zhou. The Yang family's servant Dongfang looked down, and saw that their son's face softened a little, his breathing became smoother, and then he looked at the blood flowing out, his face was blank. This has so much blood, how can it be better? Bai Jingxing steadied the needle and said, quickly send the person to the hospital. No, send it to the doctor's office. My mother has a class in the doctor's office this afternoon. She must be in the doctor's office. I don't know how his internal bleeding is. I must let my mother come to the rescue. Everyone responded and hurriedly carried Yang Qi onto the stretcher. In a daze, he opened his eyes and faced Bai Jingxing, who was holding the needle for him, and said vaguely, thank you. Bai Jingxing didn't pay attention at all. It was the first time she pierced someone with such a needle. She didn't feel that her hands were shaking a little at the moment, and she couldn't help but feel a little scared. Tang Yu came forward, held the other end of the stretcher, waved in front of her, and asked, Sister Bai, are you all right? Bai Jingxing shook his head and calmly said, I'm fine, I can do anything, it's the elder brother of the Yang family. Tang Yu exhaled and said, thank you for this matter. When he is healed, I will definitely ask him to prepare a generous gift for you. With Bai Jingxing, his own daughter, the group went directly through the back door and entered the imperial physician's office. Zhou Man was only halfway through his class when he was called out, and when he saw the handsome young man on the stretcher, he was startled. So what's the matter? Bai Jingxing said, the horse is crazy. He jumped off the horse and rolled down the hillside. He was hit by a tree in the chest. There was blood in the chest cavity, and his left leg was broken. Mother, save him. Send him to the clinic of the imperial physician's office. Zhou Man checked him, touched his pulse, turned around and ordered, go and boil the medicine. She read a series of prescriptions, glanced at the needle in his chest and asked, who put this needle in? Bai Jingxing stretched out his hand tremblingly. Zhou Man nodded slightly and said to her, come here together. Bai Jingxing witnessed how her mother treated a patient with hemopneumothorax. When she came out of the clinic, she was in a trance, with red blood in front of her eyes, and finally turned her head to look at Yang Qi's face to feel better. He can't move right now, he needs to stay in the imperial physician's office for a few days. Fortunately, we have everything here. Zhou Man turned around and saw a lot of students in the office lying on the windows and doors looking in. He couldn't help but stare. What are you doing? What? Most of the students dispersed in an instant, and only a few daring female students remained, whispering, Deputy order, young Master Yang needs someone to take care of him, why don't I stay and take care of him? And me, and I can take care of him too. The female students who were still outside were instantly excited and offered themselves. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3371. Zhou Man looked back and lay on the bed. His face was pale, but his face was silent like Li Miu, and he turned to chase them. The exam is about to come, don't you study? There are people from the Yang family here to take care of you, you are not needed. Bai Jingxing was playing polo and horse racing again this day, and he was still in shock for a long time. She was drowsily propping her head aside, only to wake up after being patted on the head by her mother. Zhou Mandao, go home first. You gave him a needle outside today, and the possibility of infection in the wound is very high, so I will stay to see him for one night, and tell your father that I will go back tomorrow. Oh, Bai Jingxing rubbed his eyes and got up. glanced at Yang Qi on the bed, and couldn't help asking, "Mother, will he be okay?" After thinking about it, Zhou Man said, "The possibility of an accident is very small. He is in good health. As long as he is not infected, he can go home and raise him in a few days." Bai Jingxing was relieved. This was the first person she saved in the true sense, and it was of great significance. Bai Jingxing said, "I'll see him again tomorrow." Zhou Man waved her hand. Bai Jingxing rubbed her neck and went out, and found that the imperial physician office was very lively today. She went out with a confused look. "Today is not the day for the examination of the imperial physician office. Why are you all walking on the road?" When she was outside the gate, she was startled by the people gathered in front of the imperial physician's office. "You, what are you doing here?" When the students of Minxiu saw her, they immediately greeted her and asked anxiously, "Jingxing, how is young Master Yang?" "It's still being treated." Bai Jingxing could not help but ask, "What's wrong with you guys? Are you seriously injured?" "Lord Zhou's shot is useless." Bai Jingxing's face turned solemn. "Who said it's useless? As soon as my mother took action, his injury was stabilized, but his injury was not minor and he couldn't move for the time being, so he had to stay in the imperial physician's office to recover." The people gathered at the door breathed a sigh of relief. It's good to be useful, and it's good to be useful. Lord Zhou is amazing. Bai Jingxing raised his chin slightly and said, "That is natural." "Hey, Bai Jingxing, are you still going?" Outside the crowd, Bai Ruyu, who was riding on a horse, waited for a long time before she got off. She couldn't help raising her voice and called to her, "It's going to be dark today. Come, come." Bai Jingxing separated from the crowd and ran down, took the horse rope from the guards and got on the horse. When she was riding on the horse, she remembered her two stupid younger brothers and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Oh, I put Wu, the two of them forgot." When you think about it, they're all going to starve to death in the race course. Bai Ruyu said, "I sent them home long ago, and I'm probably copying books in the study at the moment. There is such a big incident in the race course, and the people in it have been emptied, and they are being investigated by the Jingzhou mansion right now." Bai Jingxing was speechless, so serious. "Anyway, it's not too late, not to mention the Yang family's brother. Even if the Zhao family's sister had an accident at the race course, it would be difficult for them. The horses they both use are horses from the race course. By the way, it's good. How could Sister Zhao's horse be frightened?" "I don't know. I have to ask the second elder brother of the Tang family. He was there at the time." Bai Ruyu saw something, her eyes widened slightly. "Damn, my father." Bai Ruyu grabbed the reins and was about to run while spinning her horse, but Bai Jingxing grabbed her. "It's getting dark, where can you run to?" "Bai Ruyu, I'm going to the palace." Bai Jingxing still dragged his horse. "It's too late." "It's too late, let go." Bai Erlang shouted, "Bai Ruyu." Bai Ruyu was about to cry. He stared at Bai Jingxing. "I took you as my sister, but you took me as a shield. We must never be friends." In the end, Bai Ruyu was sentenced to kneel at the ancestral hall for an hour and copy the Book of Rites 10 times because he escaped from home with Xiaomu and Bai Changsong and went to the more dangerous horse farm. In order to complete the task within the stipulated time, Bai Ruyu had to go to the county master's mansion across the road every day to find Xiaomu and Bai Changsong, who were also punished for copying. The three of them complained while copying the book, "Why can my sister go wherever she wants, but we can't?" Bai Ruyu gritted her teeth in hatred. "Bai Jingxing, don't fall into my hands next time." Bai Changsong couldn't help but speak for his sister. "Big brother, even if my sister doesn't pull you, you will always be caught by the cousin, right? What are you afraid of?" "I went to the palace to hide for a few days. My father was very forgetful. He couldn't catch me at the time, and he forgot about it in 2 days. Also, even if my father didn't forget it at the time, his anger was almost gone. Even if I was punished, I wouldn't be punished so severely. Can your father forget, can your mother forget? I don't care, anyway, I could have escaped for my life at the time, and it was only for a while, Bairu said stubbornly, and maybe after I enter the palace, the emperor's uncle will intercede for me. He remembered something, turned his head and stared at them and said, we made it clear before that this matter has nothing to do with me after being discovered, you guys. Xiaomu immediately raised his hand, brother. I swear, we didn't take the initiative to admit it, it was all discovered by my father. When there was an accident at the race course, you sent us home directly. All the excuses we made earlier were useless. Bai Changsong nodded again and again, it's not our fault, it's the race course accident. Are you really stupid, or are you fake? Bai Jingxing held a plate of fruit, pushed open the door with his feet, and said, just you guys still want to play with your father? Now you are all playing with your father and Uncle Tang. Leftover. She put the fruit plate on the table, raised her chin and said, eat it, you'll have a good job after eating. Bairu took the time to put a piece in her mouth, then grabbed the pen and continued to write. He asked vaguely, how's big brother Yang? Bai Jingxing took the fruit plate into his arms and sat cross-legged on the mat to eat. When you are awake, my mother said that if you stay for another 2 days, you can move it home to recover from the injury. It took 100 days for his muscles and bones to break. His left leg was fractured and his ribs were also broken. Too broken, it is estimated that it will take 2 or 3 months to raise before going to school. In addition to copying books recently, Bairu can't even go out and exchange information with her friends, so she really doesn't know much about the outside world. He asked curiously, is it a mess outside now? Bai Jingxing was puzzled, it won't be a mess, right? Brother Yang is not a high-ranking member of the court. If Uncle Yang was injured, it would be a mess. I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about your female students and the ladies in Beijing. Bairu smiled and said, big brother Yang's injury has hurt how many girls in Beijing, even at the age of 20, down to your age, I'm afraid you will be sad. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3372. Thinking of the sad atmosphere in the school recently, Bai Jingxing nodded slightly and sighed, I was going to go to Qiaozijian, but recently in the Ming school I was saying goodbye to everyone, but because big brother Yang was injured, everyone went away with sadness and worry. I can't even think of sending it to me. Qiaozijian is right in the capital, opposite Mingxiu, what do you want to send? Bairu really didn't understand them, like our man, he is much more relaxed, everyone is never pretentious, misses in their hearts, shout outside the Qiaozijian, we just go out for a drink together. It's not that it's hard to meet again at the ends of the earth. Bai Jingxing, have you learned to drink? I'm talking about fruit wine, as if you've never drunk it? Xiaomu put the copied page aside to dry, sighed, and really wanted to go out, so he slammed Bai Jingxing and said, sister, let's go see big brother Yang tomorrow. Bai Changsong nodded again and made an excuse for his brother. Uncle Yang and Aunt Yang are not in the capital, there are only 2 brothers Yang and second brother Yang in the family. Big brother Yang must have such a big thing, second brother Yang must be very panic. As family friends, we have to take a look. Bai Jingxing, there are parents here, don't think I don't know what you guys want to do, don't you just want to take the opportunity to go out? She was puzzled, why can't you just sit still? Bairu and the others, it's as if you can sit still. Bai Jingxing said righteously, I'm stronger than you now, especially your great treasure. You came out an hour earlier than me, and now you can only be reduced to the same as my younger brothers. Bairu. Forget it, let's talk about big brother Yang. Bairu Yu changed the subject. I think we should go and see him. It's up to the adults to see, then the friendship between our children is our own. Isn't it? Xiaomu and Bai Changsong nodded again and again. That's right, every year we don't miss the snacks that big brother Yang gave us. Bai Jingxing snorted, are they familiar with you? But seeing that the two younger brothers and Bairu Yu were pitiful, she still nodded and said, okay, when I go to convince my mother, I will take you to see him at the imperial physician's office. Although the Bai Yang and Tang San families have a good relationship, adults always bring their families together once or twice a year, but because of age, the Bai family's children and the Yang Tang family's children are not very familiar. The two sons of Yang Hesha prefer to play with the two sons of the Tang family, and Tang Dalan is older than them, and he has his own circle. Every year, watching these younger brothers and sisters is like watching children. On the other hand, Bai Jingxing was the king of children, and he had Bairu Yu who was the same age as his company. In particular, she is the only girl in the family, and she is deeply loved by the ladies. Every time she gets together, she takes her younger brothers to play in the backyard, not in the front yard. Therefore, the brothers with the Yang Tang family are between familiar and unfamiliar, but because of the close relationship between several families, they also have more feelings and ties between them. When Yang Zai woke up, Tang Yu smiled and said, you are lucky, this time you happened to meet the sister of the Bai family, otherwise your little life would have been explained there. Yang Zizi also smiled slightly, I want to thank her a lot, I didn't expect her to be so powerful. He turned his head and asked softly, where is my Erlang? He went to Jingzhou Mansion, and now it's said outside that this shocking horse is because of you. The ladies in Beijing are jealous for you, and there is an accident in the race course. You almost lost your life because of this, Tang Yu said. He didn't hide it from him because he was ill, and said, your family's Erlang is not convinced, and is staring at the dignitaries at Jingzhou Mansion for a detailed investigation, and the rumors should stop. Yang Zizi said weakly, let him come back, don't make trouble with them, this matter is indeed related to me. What does it have to do with you? Tang Yu said, you just look good, and you don't want to be surrounded by others. You have rejected them. They want to be jealous and get together. You plan to just let go of the rumors. Yang Zizi said, the rumors stop with the wise. It's not the first day that you look so good looking. 2 years earlier, when you were summoned by His Majesty to Daming Palace to deal with it, weren't you more famous? At that time, the capital was horrified, and how many people rushed to see you on the street of Qiaozijian. Why haven't there been such bad rumors? Tang Yu said, I think they are taking advantage of Uncle Shi's absence in the capital, so they are bullying you vigorously. Since you should know that it is useless to go to Jingzhou Mansion to block, Yang Zizi said, and this reputation doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter, do you know how the outside world spreads about you? Yang Zizi smiled slightly and said, I guessed it a little, but I'm not immoral, these rumors didn't affect me much, but it was even more detrimental to the little ladies who were present at the time. At this time, it should be taken lightly, and the trouble will be bigger. I am afraid that their reputation will be harmful. Tang Yu, you are considerate. It's really because of me, Yang Zizi said, so I have to trouble you to watch Erlang, don't let him come forward for this matter, let them go to the Jingzhou Mansion to investigate, and let them go to the judgment. It is enough not to wrong innocent people. Tang Yu said helplessly, you are not wasting the words your father gave you. Yang Zizi smiled, it's your job. Okay, you hurt your lungs. My aunt told you to talk less and rest more. Yang Zizi shut up and stopped talking, he still cherished his life. He stopped talking, but Tang Yu couldn't help it, and he muttered, it's a pity that my father and elder brother are not in the capital, otherwise they must have a way to clear the rumors without letting those little ladies suffer. Yang Zizi suddenly remembered, Uncle Bai Shi won't come forward for me, will he? Tang Yu narrowed his eyes slightly, and stared at him with his big eyes. Yang Zizi clutched his chest and wanted to get up, but Tang Yu hurriedly held his arm. "You're dying? You can't move around at this time." Yang Zizi said, "Originally, it was controversial when Uncle Bai was so young, and I am the son of the former Prime Minister. At this time, it is more harmful than beneficial to involve me in this matter." "Oh, don't think about it," Tang Yu said. "You can think of it, can't Uncle Bai and the others think of it? You are injured at the moment, take good care of it, don't worry too much." Seeing his frowning, Tang Yu said, "Why don't you think about what to give to the Bai sister as a thank you gift? They saved your life." Yang Zizi lay on the pillow and stopped talking. Tang Yu glanced at the sky outside, got up and said, "Okay, just let your mind rest for a while, and I'll bring your Erlang back from Jingzhou Mansion." Yang Zizi finally made a sound of "Be here first tonight, good night." Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3373. Yang Zizi stayed in the imperial physician's office to recuperate, and the situation outside could not affect him. At most during the day, many students passed by his ward where he was recuperating. Most of them are female students, of course, there are also many male students. Although they are in the capital, many people have only heard about it and have never seen Yang Zizi. They really want to see what this famous young master Yang looks like. As expected, the students of their imperial physician department, especially the seniors, are occasionally brought by the gentleman to the doctor's office. Never seen it? But Yang Zizi is indeed the best of them all. A young doctor stroked his mustache and said, "Only the white phase when I was young can compare with it." Then an older imperial doctor shook his head and smiled, "That's when you have never seen Yang Xiang when he was young, that's when he was astonishing and extremely beautiful, and his beauty is the best in the world, and even now, no one in the entire Jin dynasty can surpass him." The gray-bearded imperial doctor shook his head and said, "Those who have Yang Xiang's color, have no talent, have their talents, and have no self-cultivation temperament. In this world, Yang Xiang is also the three, so he is the first in the capital and the second in the world." 1. Now young Master Yang is a little worse than his father. But young Master Yang is indeed the most beautiful person I've ever met. That's true, Sai, in the final analysis, I think Mrs. Yang is good looking, and the number one beauty in the world is not a false name. Mrs. Yang first. It's Yang Xiang's biological mother. It is said that she was also the most beautiful in the world back then. In times of trouble, the Yang family took a lot of effort to save people. "How beautiful, do you have a portrait?" a slightly immature voice interjected. The old doctor returned to his senses, turned his head to look, and found that not far from the flower bed where he was sitting, there were 3 teenagers and 1 child squatting. The old doctor. He slowly got up, stroked his beard and asked, "Little lady Bai, when did you come?" "When you said, that was when you never met Yang Xiang when he was young," Bai Jingxing said. "We know that Yang Shivo is good looking, but we didn't have the chance to see Yang's uncle and grandmother. I wonder if there are paintings circulating among the people?" The old doctor, "How can that kind of thing spread among the people?" "Why not? Yang Shivo has many painters, and there are several in my family, all of which were painted by my father." The old doctor looked horrified. "I didn't expect Bai Xiang to have this hobby." The old doctor didn't want to talk to Bai Jingxing anymore, so he led everyone away. Bai Jingxing looked at their scattered backs with an inexplicable expression. Why did they leave? Bai Ruyu and Xiaomu didn't understand either, and shook their heads together. Bai Changsong didn't understand, but he was keen and thoughtfully said, "Daddy paints Yang Shivo, doesn't it sound like a good hobby? Isn't that to send Aunt Changjio?" Bai Jingxing followed Bai Ruyu to call Aunt Changjio since he was a child, and he was used to it, and said, "She likes this. My mother said that sending pictures is not only for her, but also for our family. Money is a win-win thing, why not do it?" The four of them all looked confused, but they always thought about it, and they decided to put aside the things they didn't understand for the time being. Bai Jingxing waved his hand and said, "Let's go, I'll take you to see Big Brother Yang." Xiaomu still has a lot of enthusiasm for beauty pictures, so he said, "You can ask if Brother Yang has paintings at home, that's his grandmother, it should be there." Bai Ruyu, go ask if you have the guts. Xiaomu, I don't have the guts, sister, go ask. Bai Jingxing, why should I ask? Xiaomu, you and Big Brother Yang have a life-saving grace, and you are a girl. It's not strange to ask his grandmother's paintings. We are all boys, so it's strange to ask to see the paintings of our predecessors. Bai Ruyu and the two younger brothers looked at her eagerly. Bai Jingxing couldn't stand their eyes and gritted his teeth. "I'll try it." The four of them took their servants to the outside of Yang Zizi's ward swaggeringly. There were quite a few young students standing outside the door. Bai Jingxing looked at them, then looked up at the sun in the sky. "Senior sisters, you don't have to go to class right now. We are a free class, and you can complete the tasks by yourself, as long as you complete them within the time limit." Bai Ruyu asked, "Then you are done now?" The seniors hesitated for a while, but left reluctantly. Dongfang, who was guarding the door, saw this, heaved a sigh of relief, and immediately greeted him, "Little lady Bai, you are here, please come in quickly." Bai Jingxing turned around and took the food box from the servant. "Let's see Big Brother Yang, how is his injury today?" Dongfang smiled respectfully and said, "It's much better, Lord Zhou said that he will be able to move back to his residence in 2 days." Yang Zizi was leaning on the bed and reading a book. When he saw them coming in, he put the book aside and smiled, "You can come and see me if you have time." Bai Jingxing glanced at the book he put beside him, and found that it was Yang Doctor Handbook compiled by her mother, and could not help but ask, "Brother Yang, do you also have medical skills?" Yang Zizi shook his head, "It's just a look at it in my spare time, I'm just familiar with a little medical theory, I don't dare to say yes." Having said that, he smiled and said with Bai Jingxing, "Speaking of which, Sister Bai is still very good, thank you for saving me this time." Bai Jingxing was a little embarrassed. "Actually, this is the first time that I have pierced such a needle. In a hurry, I don't know what the result will be. This is also because Big Brother Yang is lucky. There's no luck. If you don't pierce that needle, I will die. You dare to pierce this needle, which shows your daily work." Bai Ruyu felt that their politeness was endless, and quickly said, "Big Brother Yang, don't be polite to her. With the friendship between our two families, shouldn't it be right to save you?" He pointed to the food box and said, "We brought you bone soup. You eat to make up for one, and they all say that the shape is used to make up for the shape. You have broken several bones this time." Bai Jingxing hurriedly put down the food box and took out the vegetables and soup inside. Dongfang quickly took a bowl and put it up. "Little lady Bai, come on, little one." Bai Jingxing skillfully poured out a bowl of soup. "I'll come, it's easy." After filling the soup, he sat beside the bed, stirred the spoon and asked, "Brother Yang, can you drink it yourself?" Yang Zizi smiled and stretched out his hand. Bai Jingxing put the soup bowl into him, watched him drink it and asked, "How is it, isn't it particularly delicious?" Yang Zizi smiled and nodded, "There is a herbal smell in this soup. Naturally, I found this from my mother's herbal diet recipe, which is just right for you to drink now." Bai Jingxing said, "Drink more, I even copied a recipe for you, and I will ask you to come back home. The cook made it for you. This time you lost blood, broke your bones, and injured your lungs, all of which need to be taken care of." Yang Zizi nodded, "Okay." Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3374. Xiaomu stood behind Bai Jingxing and quietly reached out and poked her, but Bai Jingxing ignored him. Bai Changsong was still young, and the age difference between Yang Zizi and Yang Zizi was even greater. At this time, he was even more bored. Seeing that his brother couldn't urge his sister, he helped him and poked her hard. Dongfang looked interesting on the side. Bai Jingxing put his hands behind him and patted off the two of them, and Yang Zizi raised his head curiously to look at them. Bai Jingxing smiled awkwardly at him, and when he was almost drinking, he asked, "Brother Yang, do you have a portrait of your great uncle at home?" Yang Ziyi was at a loss for a while. "Who?" "That's right, it's your grandmother, the one who was born." Yang Ziyi was choked for a while, and couldn't help coughing until his chest hurt. Bai Jingxing hurriedly took the medicine bowl, and when he saw him clutching his chest, he asked worriedly, "Are you all right? Just ask for a painting, so you shouldn't be so excited." Yang Zizi took his breath away and raised his head to look at her. "Yes, but why do you want a portrait of my grandmother?" I just wanted to take a look. I heard that my uncle and grandmother used to be the most beautiful woman in the world." Yang Zizi's gaze fell on the two young men and one child behind her. Their oldest, Bairuyu, was only 13 years old. Her eyes were clear and pure curiosity. He couldn't help but smile, nodded and said, "Yes, but it's not easy to borrow grandmother's portrait. If you want to see it, you can come to my house, and I will take you to see it." "What are you looking at?" Yang Qiang and Tang Yu walked into the door and couldn't help but smile when they saw the four children of the Bai family. "It turned out to be you," I said. "When did the eldest brother's house become so lively?" Seeing Bai Jingxing, he raised his hand and bowed at her, and said with a smile, "Sister Bai, thank you for saving my elder brother. If you need me for anything, just talk, and I will do it for you." Bai Jingxing rolled his eyes. "Really? Yang Qiang, that's still fake. Tell me, what's the matter?" Bai Jingxing coughed lightly. "Second brother Yang, I heard that you are also a tyrant in the Imperial Academy. I wonder if it is important to study in the Imperial Academy." Yang Qiang's eyes fluttered to the side, and she smiled awkwardly under his elder brother's smiling gaze. "This, if you are particular about it, that's it. Good reading is the most important thing. Yes, it is to be good at reading." Yang Zizi and Bai Jingxing said, "When you enter the school, let Tang Yu and Erlang take you to the Imperial College to identify the way. The gentlemen and classmates are very easy to get along with, and they are similar to other academies, so don't worry." Bairu Yu immediately said, and me, big brother Yang, I'm going to be admitted to the Imperial College too." Yang Zizi smiled and nodded. "Okay, then you will be together." Tang Yu tisk tisk said, "You can send tasks. Now we have done everything, but you have taken care of it." Yang Zizi pointed at his leg and said with a smile, "When it's ready, I'll return the gift to you." Yang Qiang and Tang Yu were also studying in Qiaozixiu. Both of them were admitted by Anayan, but Yang Zizi, like Bai Jingxing, was admitted by himself. It's just that when they went in, their father was quite powerful in the court, and both of them had an older brother, and they already had a certain reputation in the Qiaozijian, so when they entered, no one dared to bully them, and they were soon in the Qiaozijian. Played in. Not only did no one bully them, but they also made many friends. Although the Yang family brothers were surrounded by a lot less people recently because of Yang Heshu's demotion, and the atmosphere was a little lighter, no one really would bully them. First, the ups and downs in the officialdom have always been uncertain. Yang Heshu was demoted, he did not make a mistake of principle, and he had no more than a momentary quarrel with the emperor. Who knows when the two of them will recover? Second, the Yang family is an aristocratic family. Even if the family's influence in the DPRK has been weakened over the years, who would offend the Yang family for no reason? The third is because the Yang family brothers are all good-looking, especially Yang Zizi. Even the male classmates in Qiaozijian didn't have the heart to make things difficult for him, let alone the female classmates. Even if someone is jealous, they don't dare to be too obvious. This is an analysis of interests, not interests. The popularity of the three in Qiazijian is also good, especially Yang Qiang. At a young age, because of his older brother, he handed letters to many people, and he was very popular in the Imperial Academy. Yang Zizi comforted by Jing Xing, "Don't be afraid, it's just another academy. The classmates know that you are Lord Zhou's daughter and will not deliberately embarrass you. Bai Shan may have political enemies in the court that will affect Qiazijian's side, but with Zhou Man present, the parents of students in Qiazijian will not make Bai Jingxing embarrassed for their children." Xiaomu listened with envy, poked his sister and Bai Ruyu and said, "Sister, cousin, you must try your best to be king and hegemon in the Qiazijian. When I enter the Qiazijian, you must cover me." Bai Changsong immediately followed, and me, and me." Bai Jingxing patted his chest boldly and said, "Don't worry, you will definitely be covered." Yang Zizi silently looked at their brothers and sisters, and shook his head with a smile. After seeing Yang Zizi and confirming that he had no major business, they could also take the opportunity to come out to relax and look at the scenery, and the four of them went home satisfied. Tang Yu watched the four of them leave their backs becoming domineering, and couldn't help but turn around and laughed with the Yang brothers. "When they enter Qiazijian, I don't know how lively it will be in school. It must be very lively. Sister Bai is not a fuel-efficient lamp, plus Ruyu, tisk tisk tisk." Yang Zizi gave him a sideways look. "Did you say that about the younger sister and younger brother of the Bai family?" He said, "I think they are pretty good, more sensible than you." Yang Qiang didn't deny it, nodded and said, "This time, I really admired Sister Bai. I didn't expect her to be so powerful. In the past 2 days, the Imperial Physician's office is full of students talking about this matter, and I just found out that she was the one with the eldest brother. Acupuncture is very particular, and there is nothing wrong with it, not to mention the college students in the medical department, even if they have graduated and went to work, few dare to pierce this needle without the guidance of their predecessors." Tang Yu stretched out his hand to testify. "Everyone was stunned when the blood came out, but you scared a lot of people, but after this incident, Sister Bai is completely famous in the capital. I heard that now her bravery is being praised everywhere, and they all say that she has the potential to become the second Lord Zhou." Yang Zizi was a little worried. Too much reputation may not be all good for her. The pressure is too great, especially when the other party is so young. Yang Zizi knew this feeling too well. Anyway, the outside world is praising her a lot. Yang Qiang sighed, "I can already imagine that when my mother comes back and finds out about it, it's time to talk about me again. Alas, during the new year, I can rely on my old age to beat her. In the next new year, I am afraid I will fall behind." Yang Zizi returned to his senses, looked at him and said, "It's not that I'm afraid, but that I'm sure, even a young lady like Bai is sensible, so you should be more cautious. When it comes to shocking horses at the racecourse, you must be careful in your words and deeds." Impulse. I know, why are you older than your father? It's too late tonight, I'll try to be as early as possible tomorrow. Good night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3375. A few days later, Yang Zizi was safely sent back to Yang's house, and Mrs. Yang also returned home from Songzhou. Seeing that the eldest son was safe, she let go of her heart. The horse shock at the racecourse is defined as an accident. The racecourse compensates all the injured people. After the frightened people send some gifts, the incident is over on the bright side. But secretly, Yang Zizi's reputation for being blue-faced and calamitous is still spread everywhere, and even 2 or 3 things about him and Zhao Yuling were reported. After all, when he went to save Zhao Yuling at that time, he could be regarded as giving his life to save him. The rumors were so loud that even Zhao Liaolang couldn't be bothered, so he asked Bai Shan and Zhou Man to complain, who doesn't know that the eldest son of Yang Xuexiang's family is as gentle and kind as him. Don't say that it was my daughter who was shocked, but a strange woman. He will save him when he sees it. It is totally unreasonable for them to destroy a child's reputation and future in order to suppress Yang Xuexiang. Zhao Liaolang felt a little guilty. For this reason, he failed to participate in the imperial examination this year. Bai Shan, he was injured and couldn't participate. He said, the rumors stop with the wise. When he comes off to take the exam next year, everyone will forget about it. What if he doesn't forget? With such a reputation, he will definitely be discriminated against in the future. I'm afraid his career will be hindered. Zhou Man has been eating diced fruit. Hearing this, he raised his eyelids to look at him. Just say what you want. Zhao Liaolang smiled and said to her, Lord Zhou still knows me. Bai Shan glanced at him. Zhao Liaolang didn't notice. He looked out and whispered, how about we two become relatives? Zhou Man was stunned for a moment, then shook his head subconsciously, no, your son is too old. Zhao Liaolang, I'm talking about my family's Yuling and Yang Xuexiang's Zizi. Oh, Zhou Man reacted, no wonder you call him senior brother today, he used to be called Master Yang. Zhao Liaolang, are you worthy of it? Zhou Man looked blank, you ask me this? Shouldn't you ask brother Yang and sister-in-law? Otherwise, you should ask Zizi. Bai Shan closed the tea lid, put the tea bowl on the table, touched it lightly and said, he wants to invite us to match. Zhao Liaolang clapped his hands and said happily, exactly, the two of you have the best relationship with Lord Yang. Although there are rumors that you have turned against each other, I know it's impossible. If you go to matchmaking. Bai Shan refused directly, brother Yang has no plans to marry Zizi at this time. He is 19 years old, and he will be crowned next year. My child is about to give birth at this age, and he still doesn't plan to get married. Bai Shan, it's normal for children from aristocratic families to get married later. Brother Yang doesn't have such thoughts, so we can't talk about it. Zhao Liaolang looked at him suspiciously, you don't like my daughter, do you? Bai Shan looked helpless, it's not my child who wants to get married. Don't I think it's important? You should ask me instead of asking me. That won't work. How embarrassing would I be if I was rejected, Zhao Liaolang said, otherwise, would you guys help me to go to Yang's house to find out? Bai Shan thought about it for a while, then he didn't refuse anymore. He glanced at Zhou Man and nodded slightly. Zhou Man agreed, is this your own idea, or is it Yuling's idea? In front of them, Zhao Liaolang didn't hide his thoughts, and said, if you have both, then you are so talented. Who doesn't like it among the girls? If Yuling doesn't like it, she won't go around him. Already. If I can get married with Lord Yang, it's naturally good, I'm afraid that the Yang family will not look down on me. Zhou Man was surprised, you are so insecure. Zhao Liaolang, I still have self-knowledge. If I am a father and have a person and position like my father, my children can naturally marry the Yang family, and I don't counsel them, but you also know me, this life, that is to say, circling around in the Forbidden Army, the 6th rank has come to an end. Yang Changbo is different. Although he was demoted, you and I both know that his talent and ability are prestige there, and he will return to the capital in time, Zhao Liaolang said. Yang Zizi is the son of the Yang family, and the princess is worthy of it. What about my house? Bai Shan said speechlessly, then you still mention it? Zhao Liaolang, oh, isn't this his reputation now flawed? I just thought that this is a good way. If the two families get married and word spreads, then it's a matter of course to save my daughter, so what is blue? Rumors such as Yan and Shui will be self-defeating. Zhou Man and Bai Shan said in unison, take advantage of the fire to rob. Zhao Liaolang spread his hands, so I invite you to ask. If they are not willing, I will naturally not force it. Zhou Man took this trip on his behalf. Kui directly refused. Zhou Man was puzzled. Sister-in-law, don't you ask senior brother and Zizi? Kui shook his head and said, I asked Zizi before you came, but he didn't agree. She said, if you don't agree, then your senior brother will naturally not agree. Kui Shi smiled and said, you know, he has always been bound by the family a lot, and he doesn't want to be too restrained by the two children. Except for things like reading and studying theory, he is more tough, and the rest are as they like. So this just ask what it means. He was just saving people at the time, he had no other thoughts, and he didn't have much impression of the little lady of the Zhao family, Kui Shi said after a pause, and he also said that this matter was because of him. Since then, the little ladies were arguing around him that day, and he was shocked. It was his responsibility, and it was right for him to save people. So for the Zhao family, we also have an apology. Sister-in-law, you are so kind. Zhou Mandu couldn't help but praise them for being broad-minded, patted his chest and said, don't worry, I will reject this matter for you, and I promise not to make the Zhao family resentful. However, the rumors in the capital have been a little unpleasant recently. Are you and Zizi not affected? Kui Shi shook his head slightly. If you don't go out, all the people who come to see him are close relatives and friends, so he won't mention it deliberately, and he's not a person who cares about gossip, so he's not afraid. As for me, you also know that since your apprentice brother was demoted, I haven't gone out to socialize, and now I'm injured again, and I'm even more closed door to thank guests, so the rumors outside won't affect me. That's good, Zhou Man asked, have you thought about taking him to Songzhou? I've thought about it, but he's injured and he's exhausted, so it's not right, Kui said, and he doesn't want to. Zhou Man is his own, Kui Shi did not hide it, and sighed, you know, this child is just like his father. He is gentle on the surface, but he is actually very stubborn. What he believes is ahead of him. He has to move forward, no one can force him. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3376. He originally planned to take the Jinshi exam this year, but he couldn't go because of the injury, so the child had the idea of going on a study tour, thinking about going on a study tour after the injury healed. Zhou Man's eyes brightened. The study tour is also very good. Kui Shi couldn't help but smile when he saw it. I think he is just like you. He went out for a trip and became wild. Since he went on a study tour 3 years ago, he has been thinking about going out again since he came back, and he even missed a lot of homework. Otherwise, I wouldn't think about the imperial examination until this year. Yang Heshu was already a magistrate in Lujiang County at this age. Zhou Man didn't expect the fire to burn himself, so he couldn't help muttering, how happy is the study tour. She hadn't really traveled to study in the western regions yet. It was a half-study trip to the western regions. She was really happy at that time. Kui Shi seemed to have heard it, and couldn't help but say, when the elder sister and the others grow up and want to go out to study, you will know what I think. I must be very happy, Zhou Man said, I'm very happy just thinking about it now. If they all go out to study, then Bai Shan and I will be free. Then we will also resign and go to various places. Just thinking about it, his heart was agitated, and Zhou Man couldn't help but sigh, I don't know when I will have this opportunity. Choi. Bai Jingxing, who just entered the Imperial College, is also thinking about this question, I don't know when we can go out to study, the kind without parents. Li Erniang was speechless for a while, then reached out and beckoned in front of her, what are you thinking, we are only enrolled. Bai Jingxing, didn't you hear what the yard next door was saying when you entered school today? There are 2 senior sisters who have suspended their studies this year and applied for a study tour. Li Erniang became envious when she heard it, I heard that after studying abroad, I went to take the examination for female officials. It would be great if I could be assigned to the Hanlin Academy and the Imperial Physician Office. The office went well. What's so interesting about being an examiner, Bai Jingxing said, my mother regrets being an official half of the year, so I don't want to be an official, I just want to study abroad. Aren't you still determined to treat illnesses and save people like your mother, and achieve supreme achievements? Who said that to cure diseases and save people, to achieve supreme achievements, you must be an official? Bai Jingxing said, my mother wants to do a tour of doctors, see all the patients in the world, dig the plants and trees all over the world, and catch the birds and animals all over the world. Li Erniang was shocked. Do you want to be a traveling doctor? Medicine, it's still a little difficult, but it's not difficult to travel, Bai Jingxing said, I plan to travel to study first, and then go to study as a travel doctor after I finish my medical skills. No, I asked a while ago, and you said you were going to be admitted to the Imperial Physician's office to replace your mother. Bai Jingxing, I'm not happy that I figured it out. Li Erniang, what made you figure it out? It is what you admire and admire the most, my mother. Bai Jingxing held his chin and said, she is writing a plan for the past 2 days, trying to resign as soon as possible to travel, and for this reason, I are both stupid, brother, grow up quickly. Li Erniang. Bai Jingxing's eyes shone brightly, I just realized that my mother's wish was not fulfilled in the officialdom, but in the arena and the world. At that moment, it seemed that a small seedling broke out from the bottom of my heart and grew into a towering tree. I realized that this is what my heart desires most, so I immediately set it as my life target. Li Erniang and the others who surrounded her shivered, touched the goosebumps on their arms, and asked, can you stop being so numb all of a sudden? Bai Jingxing glanced at them and said, can you all cheer me on and don't spoil the atmosphere like this? I have told you all the feelings in my heart in detail. Li Erniang, I think you still think about becoming an official. That one is more reliable. Yeah, your father is the prime minister, and your mother is the chief of the department and the court. It's a pity not to be an official with such a good resource. What a pity, what my father said, life is like living alone, you know how you feel in your heart, just do what you want to do the most, don't worry too much about unexpected things. Bai Jingxing said, my father said that my mother was too concerned with unexpected things back then, so she made a mistake and hatred for eternity, and she was deeply trapped in the mud of officialdom and could not get out. Crowd. Anyway, Bai Jingxing figured it out, and since then he has become more free and easy, so free and easy that Yang Qian couldn't hold back to go home and complain to Yang Zizi. She said she wanted me to cover her, she walked sideways in the Kuazi prison, no one was offended, she's so unrestrained, even doctors can't talk about her, but she's not afraid of being removed from her name, so she can't do it arbitrarily. Yang Zizi wondered, I saw her before, although she was lively and cute, but she was still a little reserved. Listening to you, she is very different from before. It's so different. Oh, after 2 days of school break, my mother wants to invite Bai Shishu's family for dinner. She will come when you see it. On the day of Xiu Muri, Yang Zizi really saw someone. His injury is much better now. He can move around in a wheelchair. As long as he doesn't move much, he won't pull the wound on his chest. As soon as he saw Bai Jingxing, he felt that she was more cheerful than before. She was also lively before, but her liveliness seemed to be restrained, but now the restrained things on her body seem to have disappeared, and she has a willful aura. This was something Yang Zizi had wanted to have for many years but didn't, and he was slightly taken aback. Bai Jingxing had already rolled up his sleeves and ran into the open room happily, and walked around the steamer on the table. These are all crabs. Kui Shi replied with a smile, and said to her, this is a river crab. There are also sea crabs sent from the sea at home. They are cooking in the kitchen. You can taste the difference in a while. But girls can't eat too much, and you can't eat them in a while. Gluttonous. Bai Jingxing giggled and responded. When everyone was seated, Yang Zizi picked up the jug by his hand and poured her a glass of wine. Seeing her, he smiled and said, "This is fruit wine, not intoxicating." Bai Jingxing thanked him happily, and seeing that the adults were chatting, she also chatted with him. "Brother Yang, I heard that you are going to kiss Sister Zhao, right?" "Yang Zizi, who did you listen to? How come I don't know?" Bai Shan and Zhou Man, who were sitting opposite, also looked over and stared at her with frowns. Bai Jingxing paused while holding the crab's leg, and tried not to look sideways. "Isn't it? Then I may have heard it wrong." Bai Shan and Zhou Man suddenly turned to look at Bai Changsong. The little boy Bai Changsong lowered his head to grab the rice. Finally, unable to withstand the pressure, he raised his head and said, "I heard what Zhao Liubo and his parents said. He also said that it was done and invited me to eat candy." "Zhou Man, it was in the study at the time, how did you hear that?" Bai Shan directly punished him. "When I go back, I will copy 100 family surnames again, and it's fine to overhear what the adults are saying, and even spread rumors." Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3377. Yang Zizi was relieved when he heard that it was a rumor, and he looked at his mother. Kui Shi nodded slightly, indicating that he had refused. Yang Zizi lowered his head and took a sip of water, and said to Bai Jingxing, "It's fake." Zhou Man and Bai Jingxing said, "Eldest sister, this matter is not allowed to go out." Bai Jingxing immediately said, "I know, I won't say it outside, it's not good for Sister Zhao's reputation." Yang Qian was unconvinced and said, "It will also affect my eldest brother's reputation, okay." Bai Jingxing turned his head and glanced at Yang Zizi, who was very handsome, and couldn't help nodding. "I will definitely not speak out. I don't know who the elder brother of the Yang family looks so good looking, who will be cheaper in the future." Bai Jingxing smiled in his heart, then turned back and continued to eat happily. Yang Zizi sandwiched a piece of spare ribs for her. "Let's eat some vegetables to pad your stomach before eating crabs." Because of the new goals, Bai Jingxing's daily hobbies also changed. In the past, because she wanted to be an official, in addition to the medical skills taught by her mother, her Confucianism, law and arithmetic were the most diligent. But now that she wants to be a travel doctor, she is more interested in the geography of mountains and rivers in Dajin, and at the same time, she is more attentive in riding and archery. By the time Yang Zizi returned to Kuazijian from his injury, Bai Jingxing had already become the first female student in the Kuazixu, and his grades had also dropped to the third place. This is the end-of-year exam of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. After the exam is over, there will be another class, and the school will have an annual vacation, so the result of this exam is very important. Bai Jingxing has always been number one since she was a child, and she has never been the second. Yang Zizi thought she would be sad when she fell to the third place. Who knew that she was just like no one? She was giggling every day when she went to school and went to school. Happy. Because it snowed 2 days ago, she also made snowmen everywhere in school with friends, and didn't care about her grades at all. Bai Jingxing grabbed the cloak tightly and ran to the gate of the academy with the bookcase in small steps. When passing by the school's announcement wall, he glanced there and saw Yang Zizi wearing a black cloak standing in front of the announcement wall. He was dressed in a black cloak, lined with snow-white snow, and the sun shines again, and his clean and fair face is particularly conspicuous. Bai Jingxing couldn't help but paused for a while, but still took the bookcase and turned around. "Brother Yang, what are you doing?" Yang Zizi looked back at her and said with a smile, "It depends on the results." Bai Jing walked forward, looked up, and saw Yang Zizi's name on the list next to him at a glance. "Brother Yang, although you have rested for more than 2 months, you can still take the first place in the test." "Sharp," she said with sincere admiration. "If you take this year's Jinshi exam, You will definitely pass. The Jinchi exam and the Kuazijian exam are different. There are so many students in the world, I can't say for sure. Yang Zizi smiled, pointed to her name and asked, it's true that Sister Bai can study medicine while studying medicine at the same time. It is rare to have such a result. I heard that you have been very good at riding and archery recently. It's good to see that my horsemanship is a perfect score, Bai Jingxing said proudly. It's a pity that only horsemanship is tested in school. If I also test swordsmanship, I might be able to take the first place. Yang Zizi couldn't help laughing, so confident. Of course, I spent a lot of time learning it. In order to prepare for going out in the future, she worked hard. Her father said that people without farsightedness will have immediate worries. Anyway, they have to go to school and work hard now. It is better to learn everything that will be useful in the future at this time, and it will be easier in the future. Because of her partiality back then, her mother did not learn many things, so she is always restricted now. Yang Zizi saw that she wasn't bothered by the drop in the ranking at all, so he couldn't help smiling, and reached out to take the bookcase in her hand. Let's go, I'll take you home. No, I have a horse. Yang Zizi pointed to the snow in the yard and asked, riding a horse in this weather? Bai Jingxing didn't think there was anything at all, but after hearing what he said, she also felt a little pain in her face, being blown by the wind, so she closed her cloak. Yang Zizi smiled and said, let's go, I'll take you back in the car. Different squares, will they be far apart? It doesn't matter, Yang Zizi said, it's still early, I'm not in a hurry. Bai Jingxing accepted his kindness and invited him when he arrived at the door. Brother Yang, would you like to come to my house for a sit? Yang Zizi looked up at the gate of the county master's mansion, and shook his head with a smile. No need, I'll visit Uncle Shi next time. He handed her the bookcase and smiled. The sun is covered by dark clouds again. Looking at the weather, it will snow tonight, so go back quickly to avoid the wind and cold. Bai Jingxing responded, took the bookcase and ran home. Yang Zizi watched her run in, and when the door was closed, he shook his head with a smile and returned to the car. For the next 2 years, Bai Jingxing lived happily in Kuazijian, even happier than in Mingxiu. After deciding that she would not be an official in the future, she no longer forced herself to learn about Confucianism, law, and arithmetic. When her energy was limited, she would barely study, and when her energy was good, her grades would be better. More energy is put on the things she likes, so although her grades have dropped several places, she is no longer the first in the capital, but she is still very happy. Especially when Yang Zizi was taking care of him in school. Yang Zizi took the Jinchi examination in the 2nd year, and successfully passed the Jinchi examination. However, he did not participate in that session of the palace examination, let alone the examination of the Ministry of Rites. The Yang family didn't rush him, and let him study in the Imperial College. There were rumors in the capital that Yang Zizi had given up his career because of the rumors after the horse shock at the racecourse, and even because of the rumors, his marriage was difficult. Otherwise, why would he be so successful that he would neither get married nor talk about marriage? Bai Jingxing only listened to these rumors and did not take them to heart. She was actively planning to go on a study tour at this time, so she didn't care much about other things. And will the Yang family's brother fail to marry a daughter-in-law? It's as hard as a sow going up a tree. As long as he and Yang Jie can let go, there shouldn't be too many famous ladies who want to marry him. Even if the vast majority of his age are married, there is still another wave, the next wave. When they meet in private occasionally, Bai Jingxing can't help but gossip and ask him quietly, Brother Yang, what kind of little lady do you like? You won't be as rumored to be caught up in what happened 2 years ago. You're scared, you won't dare to approach the little lady from now on, right? No, Yang Zizi looked at her and said, did you see that I've been away from you for the past 2 years? I'm different, I mean other little lady. Yang Zizi changed the subject and asked, Swilly agrees with you to suspend your studies and go on a study tour. Agreed. Bai Jingxing was immediately distracted and said happily, I will set off when the weather is warmer next year. My mother is very envious. I am writing a resignation note recently, but unfortunately my father won't let me go. Pay. Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3378. Although women's schools are popular now, there are not many women who are willing and able to enter the officialdom, and even fewer women students who can go out to study. After all, it is often inconvenient for girls to go out, and it is difficult for family members to relax and let girls go far away. Therefore, Bai Jingxing was regarded as the first female student in Qiuazijian to apply for a study tour. There are two study tour modes in Qiuazijian. One is to accept the task of Qiuazijian and go to various official schools to exchange and study, which is also counted as an academic year. One is to take a break from school and go out for free travel, which is not considered the school year. After returning, either the exam will be regraded, or it will be a few grades when you go out, and a few grades when you come back. After careful consideration, Bai Jingxing finally chose the first option. First, she wanted to see the situation of women's schools in official schools in other places. Second, it was her first time to study abroad, but she didn't have a very clear goal in her heart, so she traveled with a mission. Better. The third point, and the most important point, is to apply for the first type of study tour this time, and then apply for the second type in the future. Bai Jingxing thought happily. After passing the wedding ceremony in the capital, she went to the Imperial College to receive documents. The doctor of Qiuazijian handed her a booklet and said, This is your status in Qiuazijian. No matter where you go, you must contact the local government first. Remember, with this ultimatum, you represent Qiuazijian. You must be cautious in your words and deeds outside, but don't embarrass Qiuazijian. Bai Jingxing assured, Sir, just put your heart into it, I will definitely try my best to win glory for the Qiuazijian. It's not necessary. The Imperial College has its own glory, as long as you don't discredit the Imperial College. Bai Jingxing, although I'm not the first in the grade now, but last year I was also the 8th in the grade, so I won't smear the Qiuazijian, right? Doctor, your knowledge is of course no problem, but your ability to cause trouble. After a pause, he tried his best to say tactfully, Student Bai, as a student, you must be respectful and sensitive, as a woman, you must be virtuous and quiet, you. Bai Jingxing immediately said, I'm agile, and I'm still, virtuous. The doctor looked at her quietly, and Bai Jingxing also stared at him with wide eyes. The doctor waved his hand and said, That's it, it's okay, if you say that you are virtuous, you should be virtuous. Fortunately, you are not leading the team this time, you only need to listen to Yang Zizi's words. With him, even if you are in trouble, you should it won't smear the Qiuazijian very much, will it? When the doctor said this, he doubted himself. Bai Jingxing opened his mouth in surprise, Big brother Yang is leading the team this time? No, he has already passed the Jinshi examination, is he not working? The doctor said with a look of relief, Yang Zizi is a person with great ambitions, and he does not stick to the gains and losses of one day. He wants to accumulate more knowledge, so he will continue to stay in the Imperial College. This time, I just apply with you guys. Officials from all over the country study tours, and the school has discussed it, and I think it is best for him to lead the team. Bai Jingxing was disappointed, I thought I could be the captain this time. After all, there are not many people who study abroad. She knows that besides her and Bairu Yu, there are also 3 senior brothers. Her grades are the best among the five, and her parents have the highest official positions and the most profound background. Yang Zizi also participated. Okay, go back and get ready. We will meet at the Imperial College early the day after tomorrow, so don't be late. Oh, Bai Jingxing drooped his head and turned to leave. Not long after she left the yard, she met Yang Zizi, who was coming this way, and she greeted sullenly, "Brother Yang." Yang Zizi stopped, looked her face up and down, and asked with a smile, "Why do you look so deeply affected?" Bai Jingxing kicked the stones under his feet and asked with a sigh, "Big brother Yang, haven't you traveled with second brother Tang before? Why are you still here this time?" "That time was a free study tour, this time I want to try to communicate with local officials," Yang Zizi asked with a smile. "Why, don't you like to travel with me?" "That's not true, it's just me," Bai Jingxing scratched his head and said a little embarrassedly, "I want to be the captain." Yang Zizi raised his eyebrows, thought for a moment and asked, "Why, do you have a route you want to take?" Although Qiaozijian requires students to go to the official school for exchange, it will not strictly stipulate specific places, nor will there be specific routes. They will only draw a circle and tell them to study in this circle, and students who participate in the middle can apply to return to Beijing, or they can continue to study for a long time. In this circle, there are not only prefectural schools, but also county schools. It is up to students to decide which official school they go to. Well, it's usually listened to by the captain. Bai Jingxing rolled his eyes and said in a low voice, "I heard that the mountains and rivers in Luzhu are steep and beautiful, and the river fish there are especially delicious. Oh, no, I heard that there are many people studying there, and there are great scholars living in seclusion in Luzhu." Yang Zizi laughed lightly, and after a long laugh, he nodded and said, "Luzhu is really good. From the capital to Luzhu, you can take the water route, which is much easier, and the scenery along the way is not bad, but the land route can pass more places." "Do you think the water route is better, or the land route?" Bai Jingxing's eyes brightened, and his two index fingers couldn't help but point it up. "Although the waterway is easy, it is also very expensive, so of course we have no problem, but I don't know if the other three brothers can afford it, and it's not good for us to go on a study tour. Too extravagant." "Then the water road and the land road cross each other," Yang Zizi said, "passing some big towns along the way, you can disembark and transfer to the land road. You can not only go to the local official school, but also see the famous local river." Bai Jingxing nodded excitedly, "That's right, that's it." Yang Zizi smiled and said, "Let's meet tomorrow to determine the route of the study tour." "Okay, see you at school." After thinking about it, Yang Zizi shook his head, "There are too many people in the school, and there is no special place for us to discuss. Why don't you go to the Green Bamboo Garden?" "The Green Bamboo Garden is the property of the Yang family. Yang Zizi can choose any courtyard in it as a stronghold." "Okay," Bai Jingxing responded immediately, "I'll call Bai Ruyu, the remaining three senior brothers." Yang Zizi paused and said, "I'll inform them." Bai Jingxing went home happily. Although she was not the captain, Yang Zizi was willing to discuss the study tour route with the team members, so she would have the opportunity to win the route she wanted to take. Bai Ruyu wasn't very interested in this matter. In fact, he didn't really want to go out and study at this time. He thinks that he is very happy to go to school in Qiaozijian, because it is Inian who entered the school, which is easier than going to school in the academy before. He enjoys such a day very much. But his father felt that reading 10,000 volumes is not as good as walking 10,000 miles, not to mention that he has not read 10,000 volumes, so it is better to go out for a walk. The most important thing is that Bai Jingxing is with him at this time, and the two of them can study together. So Bai Erlang knew that Bai Jingxing was going to study abroad, so he made a decision to let his son follow him. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 3379. However, although he signed up to participate, he was not very interested in the route, because he only needed to bring himself, and others had to worry about the rest. "I'll listen to you," Bai Ruyu and Bai Jingxing said, "you can call the shots, but I have to bring my carriage. I don't care if you go by water or land, you must be able to take my carriage." I know, even if we go by water, we will hire a big boat, and we will definitely load your big carriage." Bai Ruyu was not interested in the route, so Bai Jingxing had to go by himself, but in the green bamboo garden, Yang Zii was the only one sitting at the round table in the bamboo forest, and there was only a servant beside him. Bai Jingxing walked forward with her eldest girl, looked left and right and asked, "Big brother Yang, haven't the other 3 senior brothers come yet?" Yang Zizi smiled and said, "They have to pack their luggage and are very busy. They said that we should discuss it. As long as they can go out and study, they can learn something. By the way, what about Ruyu?" Bai Jingxing waved his hand and sighed, "Don't mention it, he's too lazy to say anything at will, I'll just call the shots." Yang Zizi picked up the teapot and poured her a cup of tea and said with a smile, "Then let's make a decision. You want to go to Luzhu the first time you study? Is there any other place you want to go?" Bai Jingxing thought about it for a while, and said embarrassedly, "The circles drawn in this school are from Suizhou to Jianzhou, just skipping over Yizhou and Mianzhou. Zhou's family is in Mianzhou." Yang Zizhiliu pondered and said, "If you go by water, it seems that you can disembark at Longzhou, and then go from Longzhou to Luzhu, passing through Mianzhou and Yizhou along the way." He smiled and said, "It's too much for the students to take a break in the local area." Bai Jingxing, can the other 3 senior brothers agree? You can communicate with local officials and people of insight, and you can also experience local customs and customs. "Why don't you agree?" Yang Zizi said, "Don't worry, they will be very happy." Bai Jingxing breathed a sigh of relief, "I haven't returned to my grandfather's house for many years. My parents always talk about going back to save my relatives when they have time." Yang Zizi smiled and nodded, "You can stay in Mianzhou for a few more days. My father also served as magistrate in Lujiang County, and I also want to see what Lujiang County is like." The 2 of them talked and laughed and decided the itinerary. It was not until evening that Yang Zizi sent Bai Jingxing out of the green bamboo garden. Still stopped, nodded to her and said, "See you at school tomorrow." "See you tomorrow." Like them, the students who applied for the study tour were 4th level students of Taixue, who were only 1 year older than Bai Jingxing and Bai Ruyu. The 3 were of the same level and were still good friends, named Li Han, Tao Yang, and Wang Yi respectively. The 3 of them asked around in Taixue before applying, but none of them chose to go on a study tour this year. They also thought that the 3 of them could form a team and be able to roam freely. Who knew that thunder would fall from the sky? It was only after they registered that they found out that Bai Jingxing and Bai Ruyu had applied with the school years ago, which was earlier than them. Then Xue Li directly divided them into a team, making it too late for them to regret it. Who knew that the students of Qiuzixu would also choose to go out and exchange study tours? Don't they all have deep pockets and go out on their own? But this is not the biggest thunder. The biggest thunder is that Yang Zizi even followed. Originally, Bai Jingxing and Bai Ruyu were both young and a year younger than them, so even if they wanted to take care of them, they should have taken care of the 2 of them, but when one of Yang came, their wish was directly defeated. So that when they met in school, the 3 of them were not very emotional. Swilly didn't care what they thought. After the doctor and others who were in charge of sending them out came, they told them to help each other, listen to Yang Zizi's words, don't embarrass Qiuzijian, etc., and then hand over the official documents to Yang Zizi. Then, waved and let them go. Li Han lowered the curtains and looked surprised. "I thought they would bring a lot of people, but who knew that each of them would only bring 2 guards and 1 follower? It's just 1 more person than the 3 of them, and it doesn't look luxurious." Tao Yang said, "Understandable, I heard that Master Zhou and Master Bai did not bring many entourages and guards when they were studying. They only took one guard when they traveled with their concubine. When they read the biography written by the concubine Bai, they also needed to do their own laundry, clothes cleaning or something like that. Wang Yi's teeth were sour, and he said, "That's not a biography, it's a storybook. This kind of thing has been beautified and decorated. How many times I've said it, don't believe it?" Li Han nodded. "I asked my mother, when Master Bai and concubine Bai were studying in the capital, there were quite a few guards in and out, and even Master Zhou was often accompanied by guards. Is that to prevent the king of Yazhu from harming them?" Tao Liang said, "I have studied carefully, except that during that time they often brought guards when they went in and out, and at the rest of the time, they only took one person or 3 people when they traveled." "A person, very simple." Wang Yi sighed and grabbed Li Han and said, "Why do you want to talk about this topic with him? Let's skip it and say, where are we going?" "Yeah, where are we going? You haven't asked senior brother Yang." "I forgot to ask, how about you?" "I didn't ask." The 3 looked at each other, and while they were hesitating, the carriage stopped. Everyone got off the car and saw that it was the pier. Weishui Wharf is now a famous large wharf. The capital is on the edge of the Weishui River, and the wharf to the capital is just a short distance away. Now the water transport is smooth, whether it is from the north to the bottom, from the south to the top, from the west to the east, you can reach the Weishui Wharf, so it is very prosperous now. Wanyan County and Yueyang County fought a lot for this, because unfortunately, the Weishui side belonged to Wanyan County, and the Weishui side belonged to Yueyang County. In the beginning, the wharf was built on the side of Wanyan County, but a few years ago in Liang County, a wharf was also built diagonally opposite. When the boats were queuing for a long time and could not disembark, some merchant ships chose to disembark at the Weishui Wharf in Liang. Then from Liang to the capital, the journey is not too long, it can be reached in half an hour, which is very convenient. Because of this, Wanyan County magistrate for 2 consecutive years looked at Zhou Man's eyes instead of eyes, and his nose was not a nose. It was because when Liang applied for the construction of the wharf, Zhou Man was a lobbyist and helped Liang persuade the emperor and the Ministry of Housing and Industry. Although the wharf was diverted, there were still a lot of people, trucks, horses, and boats. When the 3 got off the bus, a large ship happened to be unloading. They almost lost their footing and were pushed down. Yang Zizi also got out of the car and walked to Bai Jingxing's car to help her down. When he turned around and saw Li Han and the 3 of them looking confused, he smiled and said, "I have booked a boat, we will go south by water." The 3 of Li Han were stunned for a while, and it took a while to react. "Setting a boat, isn't it expensive?" Yang Zizi smiled and said, "It won't be very expensive, we only buy tickets, not charter boats, each person has a lot of luggage, and there is an additional charge for bringing carriages and horses, and we only go to Longzhou, and then take the land route, this section of the waterway. It is smooth and there are many boats, so the fees are not expensive." The 3 of them breathed a sigh of relief. After asking the price, they decided to bring a carriage and horse.